On October 21st, IBJ unveils the 2025 Women of Influence. Join us to celebrate Indy's most inspiring leaders and hear the powerful stories behind their success. Don't miss this moment. Register now at ibj.com/influence 2025. When what worked stops working, I point purpose-driven leaders to Prolific, the growth firm. They turn plans into results with full-service marketing and strategy, focused on outcomes, not vanity metrics. Head to prolifichq.com to learn more.
I'm competitive, I'm driven, I was passionate about what I was doing, and I wanted all the responsibility and everything right away. And it's going to happen, right? If you show up and do those things and work hard and be curious and be a great teammate and have a great attitude, you're going to have success, right? And so I think it's stay patient, right? Continue to show up and work hard.
Hi, I'm Dave Neff, host of Talent Scout. On this show, we shine a light on Indiana's next generation of leaders who are making a difference in business, community, and civic life. These are real conversations about purpose, mentorship, and building a future that matters. Join me as we invest in leadership that lasts. All right, welcome back to another episode of Talent Scout with Dave Neff. My guest today is Grant Leiendecker, Vice President and Director of Athletics at Butler University. Grant, welcome to the show.
Man, thanks for having me. It's an honor. I've done a few podcasts, but none in such a professional setup as this. So no surprise being with you, man. This is big time.
Well, we're grateful. IBJ Media lets us use the spot here, but this is all about shining a light on up and coming leaders in our community, in our state here in Indiana. And Grant, we got to know each other almost 2 years ago. You had just kind of come back to Butler. You weren't the AD yet. You're sort of the number two. And before we get into the Butler role and everything you've got going there, tell us a little bit about your childhood. I know you're from Fort Wayne. Were you born there? Is that where you grew up? Just let us in on what it was like growing up in the Leiendecker household.
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, grateful to even be considered as an up and coming leader and in the area, man. It's awesome to be here and be talking with you. But yeah, I grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I honestly had just kind of the all-American Midwest childhood, great childhood. One of three kids, middle child of three, older sister, younger brother. Brother's 15 months younger than me. And man, we were so immersed in sports, great community. Sports really kind of shaped everything we did. Two parents that were super involved and very loving, always around. Dad was probably around too much. He coached everything we did, which was really cool looking back, right? To have him around so much and have such a big role in my childhood and shaping me and our family. I obviously went on to be a college athlete on a basketball scholarship at Butler. My brother then also was a scholarship student athlete, played baseball at Indiana.
Oh, wow.
So, that really was who we were and what we did, and just really fond memories of my childhood and growing up in Fort Wayne, great community, and then coming to Butler and really immersing myself in Indy, man. We love the state, love this city, and now in my own family, having a chance to come home here has been pretty special and grateful to be back.
That's great. So Homestead High School in Fort Wayne, you're a hooper. How did you land on Butler? Were you looking at other schools? Did you have any sort of connection to Butler, parents, family, otherwise? Talk to us about that college decision.
Yeah, it's funny. I had zero connection to Butler and honestly, not a whole lot of awareness of Butler at the time. I grew up an IU fan. My dad went to Indiana. So we were, big IU Hoops fans, Bobby Knight fans, the whole deal, right? Like most of our state. So, I was good, but I wasn't a Big Ten caliber athlete. And so for me, I knew the best place for me was kind of at the mid-major level. And at the time, Butler was Horizon League. And but as soon as they reached out and I did a little research and got to better understand who Butler was, the more I learned about how good they had been recently at that time when they were recruiting me. This is 2004, 2005. They had been to several NCAA tournaments, Sweet 16. And I was like, shame on me for not knowing more about this program. And the lead recruiter for me at the time was a young Brad Stevens.
Wow.
And so I've known Brad since I was 16 years old, and struck up a great relationship with him. And Todd Licklider was the coach at the time.
Yeah.
And, far enough away from home, but also close enough, and track record of success, great academic institution. First time you step foot in Hinkle Fieldhouse, like what is more to love than this place? And so it checked every box for me. And so I knew at that time, like, this is as good as it's going to get for me and what I'm looking for. And so I actually committed to Butler before my junior year of high school.
Okay.
So
Wow.
I knew this is where I wanted to be. This would be the best situation for me. And turned out I made a pretty good decision at a young age, which wasn't always the case, but very grateful for that choice.
That's amazing. I'm the son of two Butler grads. My parents met at Butler, so I think I was born in December of '84, and I think my parents told me I was in Hinkle at 10 days old. So my family has deep roots as well, even though I'm not a grad of Butler. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the window of, you spent 5 years at Butler, is that right? Did you do a victory lap?
I was 5 years,
okay,
victory lap, absolutely.
But you were a part of two Final Four teams, right? I remember, I believe, was it 2010 was the first one, when you guys came inches away with that Gordon Hayward heave. The Final Four was here in Indy. I was at that game early in my career, but talk to us a little bit about those experiences, because at that time Butler was in the Horizon League still, right?
Yeah.
2011, had you guys moved to, was it the A10? Still Horizon League. That was versus UConn.
Yep.
I mean, just at the time, even just as a fan and observer, having been around Butler from a young age, it was sort of like, it was like pinch me moments. Like, wait, Butler's in the national championship. Oh, and they're going back the next year. I mean, it was just sort of surreal. You were a part of both of those experiences. So maybe draw out just some fond memories or what that experience was like.
Man, I don't even know where to start, but it's funny because when you're in the moment, it didn't feel as big and maybe as shocking as what we did was. Looking back on it now, and obviously being in my role now, you have a better appreciation for how difficult it is to achieve what we achieved. Just incredible. And as a player, I don't care if you're low major, mid major, high major, you're irrationally confident and you expect to win every time you lace them up and roll the ball out. And, for us, it was next play, next game. And we just kept, moving right through everybody. In 2010, we were really good, good. Like, that was a team that when we started really that off season, the summer before, and actually go back to the year before when, Gordon Hayward and Shelvin Mack and Ron Nord were freshmen. And we came up just short in the NCAA tournament against a really good LSU team. We knew we got a chance to do something special with that group. And so that whole offseason, obviously we worked incredibly hard. And leading into that season, we knew we had a chance to do something special. And obviously we did, and didn't lose a single game in the Horizon League, and ran through the tournament, and obviously had a great NCAA tournament, and came up one shot short against Duke. But man, that Final Four, what I remember the most is that first time you get to suit up and run out on the court in Lucas Oil Stadium for your open practice. And somebody can fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure the number was 35,000 people there to watch our open practice. And that moment was like goosebumps.
Mm-hmm.
You're in your hometown, or our hometown, and Indiana basketball, and we're the David in this story. And man, such a special moment. And back to my point of like, next play, next game, you expect to beat everybody. I will say the night before that Duke game, I couldn't sleep at all. And I was like, I can't believe we're about to play Duke in the national championship in Indianapolis.
John Shire was on that team, right? The now Duke head coach.
Yeah. And so that's when it was like, wow, this is pretty special. Let's go out and win this thing. And obviously came up one play short, but incredible memories. Yeah. And obviously what's at the core of it is the relationships with your teammates, and we still talk and still reminisce on all that. But
because you lost. Gordon went to the NBA after that season, right?
He did.
Anyone else? Did Shelvin Mack leave, or was he back?
Shelvin was back. So that honestly, that the next year when we went back in 2011 was much more unlikely than the first time. I mean, yes, mid-major, Horizon League school, but we had talent, right? The next year was really more surprising that we went back without Gordon. Shelvin Mack was still an NBA player, but Shelvin Mack probably is not an NBA player if he doesn't do what he did in that NCAA tournament run the second time, and he really put us on his shoulders and had an incredible run. And man, it was that was certainly more unlikely, but probably even more fun of a run just to pull that off back to back.
Matt Howard, remember he had some moments. Quintessential Butler. Shout out to my dad. I think that's his all-time favorite Butler basketball player.
He's always my all-time favorite because he's just the ultimate college basketball player and the ultimate teammate and one of my favorite people in the world. But you can't talk about Butler basketball without Matt Howard.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, okay, so 2011, come up just short again. You're finishing up at Butler. I believed, is that when you then had an internship with the NCAA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that come about? And at that time, were you pretty intent on, hey, I want to have a career in college athletics, sports business, or did you kind of already have your sights set on what you thought you wanted to do?
You know, it's funny. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was in school, I was pre-dental. And I was also studying finance. The fifth year allowed me to kind of double major. And I going into that last year, my senior year, my fifth year, I kind of had a bit of a quarter life crisis and spent a lot of time with Brad, kind of picking his brain on, man, like I don't know what I want to do. Like I knew in my heart I had to find a way to stay around sports and stay around the game of basketball. But I also knew I don't know that I can commit to coaching because I see my coaches, they're spending more time with me as their player than their own kids. Yeah. And I knew that I wanted to have a big family and that always seemed like a difficult situation. And so I really started to kind of lean on Brad and then my administrators at the time to really better understand what does kind of this industry look like? What does a career in sport look like if you're not coaching or playing? Yeah. Because that's all I really knew at the time. It was very fortunate that got connected with some really great people at Butler, one being Beth Getz, who's now the AD at Iowa. She was on our staff at the time and had been AD here at Ball State in Indiana. And so she was my first boss in sport administration. And she really opened my eyes to the field, gave me a chance, taught me a ton, was a great mentor for me. And then she kind of pushed me towards the NCAA postgraduate internship. And so spent the second semester of my senior year interning with her. And then she led me to pursue this opportunity with the NCAA internship and got that. And really then that year-long experience after graduating Butler really cemented my desire to want to get into this field and commit my career to ultimately being a college athletic director.
Yeah. So after the NCAA internship, I believe you went to UNC, right? The Rams Club. What obviously a super prestigious program in the ACC in the Southeast. What led you to really start your first full-time job with the Rams Club?
Yeah. So I went down there for graduate school. Went there to get my master's in sport administration. That year after working with the NCAA, realized, okay, if I want to continue down this career path, at some point I'm going to have to get a master's degree or professional degree of some sort. And so I said, let's just go after it and let's knock it out now. The North Carolina sport admin program is a fully scholarship program. Really competitive to get into, but was fortunate enough to get into it and got down there and got to work. And we just fell in love with it, fell in love with the area, great school. And I was lucky enough to get hired in a full-time capacity on the back end of graduate school.
Another former Ball State AD, Bubba Cunningham, right, is the AD at UNC.
Right. That's right. He had a good stop at Ball State.
Yeah.
And so Bubba was a great mentor for me. Still a great friend. Learned a ton from him, but ended up spending 7 years down there and just a phenomenal experience. Obviously working in a ACC institution, and that was my first experience around kind of high level football, and just tremendous experience, tremendous people. it just came point in time where if I wanted to continue to progress from a responsibility standpoint, was going to have to go somewhere else, just being that was a place not a lot of people want to leave. So,
so you spent about 7 years in North Carolina, 5 of which with the Rams club.
Yeah.
From there, you went to Marquette. So Big East, Wisconsin. What led you to Marquette?
Yeah, it was just that chance to kind of take the next step in my career. Had an opportunity there to go take on more of a leadership role. So a chance to lead their athletics fundraising operation. My whole career has really been immersed in fundraising.
Yeah.
And so that was just a chance to lead, build my own team, work very closely with the AD, the vice president for advancement, the president, frankly. And so I knew for me to continue to grow, I had to get that experience, and was fortunate enough that they wanted to hire me there. And, Marquette is a really powerful Big East institution, great basketball brand, a ton of resources there. And so it was a great experience, and, always hard to move your family and go somewhere that's foreign to you. But, that community really welcomed us, and we had a great 5 years there, and until I had a chance to come home.
Well, I want to talk about that. So, you've had a incredibly rapid ascent, and I believe I fact-checked this before, but are still the youngest Division I college athletic director, not even 40 yet. And so I'm curious, at what point in this journey, was it at the NCAA, UNC, Marquette, did you think about Butler and the potential of maybe coming home to Butler and having your eyes on that top job?
Yeah.
When did that sort of inspiration strike?
I would say when I started thinking about Butler and doing this job at Butler someday was right after I graduated. I'm working in the NCAA, and I'm realizing, okay, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And again, I probably skipped over this, but part of why I wanted to go down this path is because I had an incredible experience as a student athlete. Really, probably the most transformative period of my life. When you think about all the lessons you learn through sport at that level, the success that we had, the relationships I built, the people that shaped me as a leader and as just a young man, I was like, I want to be a part of helping the next generation have that same experience. And so to be able to do that at Butler, my alma mater, a place that means so much to me, my family, my wife and I met there, was like a dream job. And so that was the goal from the day I started down that path. But in this business, man, you never know. You got to be willing to be flexible and go anywhere. And timing is everything. And so that was always a goal. But, I wasn't putting too much stock in it. I was just trying to be where my feet are and work and build relationships, and just was super fortunate that it played out this way. And man, I truly think I have the best job in the world, and I'm just really lucky to be here.
That's amazing. So I think it was August of 23, about 2 years ago, that you did come back to Butler. Barry Collier, athletic director at the time, former men's basketball coach, calls you up, says, hey, I've got a kind of a clear, you were sort of his number two, right? My understanding is maybe not a guarantee that you were going to be the successor, but hey, you're positioned to have a future there. And it wasn't even a year later that Barry was retiring and you're being named AD. So talk to us about that timeline, that transition. Did it happen like you thought it would? Did it happen sort of unexpectedly? What was that like?
Yeah, I would say it was unexpected. And again, I was just grateful to get the call to come home and have the chance to work with Barry, who was my AD. Well, his first year as AD, I was a freshman. And so that was pretty special that got a chance to work with him, learn from him. And, we've stayed in touch over the years, but to have the chance to come back and learn directly from him, and to have him, want to bring you back to work with him just meant a lot. And so, the original goal was come back and kind of supercharge our fundraising. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this, and who knows where this thing goes, but you should be here. We need you back. And so that's where it started. And I knew he was moving towards retirement.
Yeah.
And then when he announced he was retiring, that was definitely much sooner than I thought it was going to be. And so that definitely fast tracked what I thought his timeline might be. So that was surprising. And then, I was just fortunate that as they went through the process, that I ended up being the pick.
Yeah.
And it's been a blur. Just finished first year in that seat, but it's been tremendous.
So now being a college AD, the role has evolved tremendously. I think a prior generation of ADs, it really came down to you hire head coaches, right? You stay compliant with the rules, raise a little bit of money. That's sort of the job, right? Now, and we've talked about this, you've got other big priorities: NIL, transfer portal, revenue sharing, perpetual fundraising, staffing, managing the whole campus relationship as those two get, the athletic department and campus get tighter and tighter, hiring coaches. How do you juggle and know which priorities to really focus on?
Yeah.
Because the job of I get the D1 ticker updates about all the college ADs that are moving in and out. The role has really evolved, it seems, in just the last 3 or 4 years with the advent of NIL and the transfer portal and now rev share as of July. So would love sort of some insight. You're young enough, I think, to be adaptable to it, but it's I'm sure it's been a lot after the first year.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You said it's evolved, and I would say it has, and it's still evolving, right? There's stuff changing every day. And just as we think things are semi-settled with revenue sharing, there's lawsuits happening every day that are threatening to continue to chip away at whatever rules we know to exist today. And so it's ever changing. And you mentioned the word adaptability. I think that's critical to anyone's success in this role these days. And I'm still learning myself of how do I need to structure my team? How do I need to manage my time? Where am I best suited to best serve Butler University? And reality is that's got to be resource acquisition for the most part. That's our biggest opportunity. With NIL, that's now, we can have, I believe we have an unbelievable product to sell when you think about the power of our institution, the academic strength, the city we're in. We are in an unbelievable city here, and we're a beautiful little campus in the middle, right in the heart of it. We play in what I think is the best college basketball venue in the country. We have great history, tradition, great coaching staff. Reality is, though, now that the number one reason that you're able to attract and retain talent is your NIL compensation.
Yeah.
And so that's significant. And so as a smaller alumni base, historically, it's been you got to go raise the money through donors. There's still a little bit of that now for us. And so that's where I'm spending a lot of my time is how do we modernize our revenue generation, both through corporate entities, through ticket sales, and then the outside fundraising piece. That's where I'm spending the majority of my time. And so I'm trying to structure my staff in a way that allows me to kind of soar with my strengths, same for the rest of my staff, and just make sure we have everything aligned to maximize what we're capable of. And I think we're just scratching the surface and excited about the progress we've made in year one. And I think we're going to continue to build on that in year two. And I really like where we're at in knowing, though, we got to be adaptable because this stuff's changing truly by the day.
Thanks for joining us here on Talent Scout. We're going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, so stay tuned. Most organizations hit a point where growth stalls. The message blends in, the site stops converting, pipeline softens. That's when I tell leaders about Prolific, the growth firm, for purpose-driven leaders. Through full-service marketing and strategy, they clarify the story, rebuild your go-to-market, and drive sales. Most importantly, Prolific holds itself accountable to the metrics that matter to you. If you're ready for your next growth stage, learn more about Prolific at prolifichq.com. After a year in the big chair, what's been maybe the biggest surprise? Something that, you've been in the industry your entire career, but now you've got the big chair. What's something that you hadn't thought about and you're like, oh, wow, like that's now my problem or my decision that I have to make?
Yeah, it's interesting because you feel like you know everything when you're in the number 2 role until you're actually in the seat and you're the one that has to sign off on it and make the final decision. And you also learn that there's probably a lot of things that came across your AD's desk that you weren't even aware of that they handled and took care of without your knowledge. We have over 500 student athletes. We have over 100 full-time employees. You got 16 head coaches. There's always something, right? And so it's mostly personnel is stuff that you're dealing with. And it's just constant problem solving, which is part of why I love it though. It's never dull. It's never the same. There's no 2 days are the same. And I tell people that I'm just I'm just here to try to solve problems and put everyone in the best position to succeed. And as you know, you don't do anything alone, right? I am a very relational person. And so whether it's internal, external relationships, you're only as good as the people that are around you and helping you figure this stuff out. And so I have a great team and it's problem solving. It's personnel based. But we're figuring it out.
Who's been a mentor too that you've leaned on since being in this role?
A lot, man. I mean, Barry's he's right down the street. He's not going anywhere. And so, I mean, he literally sat in the same chair I'm sitting in. So, that's pretty easy one. My staff that's been here a long time, some of my old ADs with Bubba Cunningham and Bill Scholl, who I worked for at Notre Dame or at Marquette, who was at Notre Dame for a long time. And then he was actually the AD at Ball State as well. And so, a lot of Indiana ties there, but, lean on a lot of them, a lot of the people in the industry that have done it. And it's funny, I'll never forget my first in-person meeting with the Big East ADs and head coaches. Every spring they go down to Ponte Vedra and have spring meetings. And I'm sitting in the room with me and Dan Hurley and Rick Pitino and Shaka Smart and every Big East AD. And you talk about imposter syndrome. I'm like, what am I doing here? Right. And the ADs, though, were so welcoming because this is as all this stuff's blowing up with the potential house settlement, and we're all looking around like, what is going on here? And they look at me and say, well, we may have 30 years of experience on you, but we're all in this together now. This is brand new, fresh start here. So that was a little reassuring. But it's as we talked about, it's never dull.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I want to come back to Brad Stevens. Brad's been general manager now of Boston Celtics. Was head coach prior to that of the Celtics. And from everything I hear, incredibly relational with anybody that's played for him, worked with him. What's your relationship like with Brad now that you're the AD at the school that he used to coach at?
It's great. I am so grateful to him. And it's funny how our relationship has evolved over time. I mentioned I've known him since I'm 16 years old, and now I'm father of 5 kids, and I'm in this seat as the AD at the school that he started as a volunteer assistant at, that then built this thing into where we were. And obviously he's gone on to incredible success, and now he's won a world championship as a president and GM of the Boston Celtics. It's pretty incredible, and our relationship's great. He's a great friend, mentor. I've learned more about leadership from him than any other person I've ever been around. And we stay in touch regularly, whether it's just to catch up on what's going on with his family. And his son is a walk-on now for Notre Dame men's basketball.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And we're hosting them here in October for an exhibition game. So to get his son back in Hinkle Fieldhouse now as a college athlete, when he was running around shooting on Hinkle's floor when we were all playing is special. So he's always there for me. I lean on him a lot as I'm trying to sort through big decisions. And just really grateful for that friendship and that mentorship that he's given to me.
So I know you grew up in an IU household, but then went to Butler. So it seems like it's become an annual tradition, but it's probably every 2 or 3 years, the IU fan base gets whipped up into a frenzy, and you hear the Brad Stevens to IU rumors. Will that ever happen? What if you were to have a crystal ball, is that on the in the future for Brad? Man, he seems pretty contented.
That's
Boston.
A big one. I think if it were going to happen, it would have been this last go round. So, I'm going to let him answer that question. But
smart man.
Obviously he's high on anybody's list anytime there's a job open. And they're smart to want to go after Brad because he's brilliant. He's a great basketball mind, and more importantly, he's a great leader. So anybody that has a job opening should try to hire him. And we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if he's if he's holding a clipboard again someday, but who knows? He's in an incredible spot, and obviously done very well as he's transitioned into that role. And it's pretty cool to see all his success.
Yeah. Well, a couple more things on Butler, and then I want to talk a little bit about on the personal front. People talk about the Butler Way. Could you enlighten our listeners who don't know, what is the Butler Way? How did it come to be? And then a second part to that would be, I know you recently launched something called the Butler Way Society, sort of a philanthropic circle for Butler athletics. Maybe tell us a little bit about how that initiative came to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Butler Way is just our culture in action. And, the Butler Way was really, it was really coined by Tony Hinkle. And from there, it was just kind of built upon by Barry Collier, and then Thad Mata and Todd Licklider and Brad. And it's really it's just who we are and the way we go about our business, the way we treat each other, in the way we carry ourselves. And it's a work ethic, it's a selflessness, it's integrity, and it's never quitting, right? It's believing that, you can do something special, but it's also knowing that it's going to take what it takes to get that done. And knowing that we've kind of always been, the whole is greater than the sum of our parts. That's part kind of wrapped up in the Butler Way as well. So to me, it's something that's actually hard to define. You can throw a lot of words on it, but it's really just this collective culture that leads to that, the whole being greater than the sum of our parts. And so it's something we're proud of and we'll continue to build on. But that's the expectation if you come to Butler. And this is well beyond athletics, right? I think this was started in athletics, but now it's kind of the ethos and the culture of our institution. And I think if you see Butler students out in the community, in the workplace, the hope is that they continue to represent that in everything that they do. And I think we're living up to that, and will always do my part to do that. The second part, the Butler Way Society is a philanthropic giving society that we started in an effort to kind of what we're talking about earlier, generate more impactful, transformational resources for us to not just kind of survive year in and year out based on how good a basketball team is or how many tickets we sell, but to get people thinking bigger about Butler and thinking bigger about what Butler athletics can be. We want to be Indianapolis's team. And we play in what I think is the best basketball conference in the country. We got some of the best teams coming in to play in the best basketball venue in the country. And we got a chance to do something really special, but it's competitive and it takes investing at a high level. And so we've asked people to think about leaning in and thinking more long-term about their investment in Butler athletics. And the response has been amazing. We've generated over $9 million in commitments from over 80 families in the past probably 16 months through this program. Yeah. And over half of that money is new support to Butler University, which is huge. And I think that's us seeing some non-Butler alums, some more Indianapolis people that are interested in being a part of something bigger than themselves. And we're really excited about continuing to build on that momentum.
Well, as a Butler Tarkington resident, my family loves coming over. I know I see you at some
love having you
women's basketball, men's basketball, soccer. I might use your stairs early in the morning for some workouts. Don't tell anyone,
man.
but
no, we welcome that.
Yeah, it's an incredible resource in the neighborhood, and there's nothing quite like a sold out Hinkle Fieldhouse on a January Tuesday night, or when Villanova's in town or something like that. It's a really special thing. So, well, in our remaining time, I want to talk a little bit about, we haven't touched too much on your family. You mentioned married, 5 young kids, finished with twins. As a father of 4, you're overachieving, but you're a high capacity leader. You got a big job. Maybe share for especially some of our younger leaders that are listening to this, what's a secret sauce, or what are some personal disciplines that really keep you grounded and focused on the main thing? Because you could easily be distracted by a million things.
Yeah, that's something I'm still figuring out, honestly. I don't know if I have the secret sauce yet. I think balance is really, really hard thing to find, if I'm being honest. I think probably one of my weaknesses or struggles right now is just feeling like I'm not being enough for everyone, right? Like, I got 5 young kids at home, and that's a lot for my wife, and to be there for her and the kids, and then also the 500 student athletes and coaches that I'm responsible for. Trying to find balance is difficult. So you got to give yourself grace. I try to just be where my feet are and be the best version of myself for whoever I'm in front of at that point in time. You got to take care of yourself. That's one thing I've learned, is like, you've got to carve out time for, whatever helps you be the best version of yourself. For me, one thing I do a good job of, if there's not a kid waking up, is like, I do prioritize sleep. So I know I'm going to get at least 7 hours of sleep, which allows me to kind of be at my best. I got to try to get a workout in at least 3 to 4 days a week if I can. And so I've done a better job of trying to schedule that. I like to be an early morning guy, but there's always some kid that comes and wakes up and needs me to put a cartoon on for him or whatever that is. So being flexible with that stuff, but you got to take care of yourself first if you're going to be the best for the people that depend on you. So that's I don't have the secret sauce, but I think I'm doing a better job of giving myself grace and just being the best where I am at that point in time. Yeah. And I think perfection is the enemy of being really good. Yeah. And no one, just be the best you can be in that point in time.
Consistency over intensity, right? I think, that's something I'm learning. I'm just a couple years ahead of you, but in terms of young people have these like big dreams and goals, and it's like, man, if you just do the fundamentals day in and day out, generally things will start to bend your way. It may not be immediate, but
I think that's really well said.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Couple more questions for you. As you reflect still on your young career, for those that are listening that might want to, either get into college athletics or are in it and are aspiring to kind of advance, what is something, as you reflect back, maybe it was in your 20s, that you did or something that you went through that was really a career accelerator for you?
Yeah. Great question. I'm looking back and it's such a blur because we did a lot. We moved around and we had kids but I think it's say yes to everything at that time, right? Like, I did a lot of things and learned quickly. This is like, whether it be a specific job in the athletic department, a specific area, even like getting towards, narrowing down what I knew I wanted to do. I tried a lot of things I didn't like. And I did a lot of things that not other people wanted to do to try to get ahead and show that I'm committed and I'm serious. So work really hard and say yes to everything, right? I mean, before you have a family and before you have a lot of these other things that are pulling you in all different directions. I think if I did anything right, it was that I worked my butt off and I was willing to do anything. And I tried to do it with a good attitude. And I was curious. I asked questions. I didn't pretend that I had all the answers, show up with humility, and just say yes to everything at that point in time. Because, one, you need to learn. And two, it shows that you're committed and people around you respect that. Like, you want somebody, as I'm going to hire people, I want people that are hungry and humble, right? Smart's nice too, but like, if you can work really hard and show up with humility every day, I mean, you're almost all the way there. It's not that difficult.
That's a great word. Yeah, I think your 20s are all about learning what you're good at, what you're not good at, what gives you energy, what drains you. Yeah. And but you're right, as you start to add, I think I had all 4 of my kids in my 30s, you do have to say no to some stuff, right? Otherwise you're going to be a terrible, father, spouse.
That's where that guilt creeps in, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
But you're right. You got to give yourself grace. And I think if you're doing the fundamentals well, in the long run, it'll work out,
Absolutely.
So you might have some tough days and that sort of thing. But I feel you on that. Real quick, tell us about, I mean, as we've already touched on, big job, 5 kids. I know we're serving together on the 2026 Men's Final Four LOC, which is fun. What else in the community are you involved in? Any other, nonprofits or orgs? Again, I know you have limited bandwidth, but are there places where you're able to engage beyond Butler that really give you life?
Yeah, I would say that's an area I'm still trying to tap into, and again, trying to find the time to to serve where I can. I mean, that's certainly one. Serving on the Indianapolis Final Four local organizing committee is an awesome opportunity, and really proud of what that group's doing. And I want to continue to do everything I can to make Indianapolis an even better place to live. I mean, from the time that I stepped foot on campus as a Butler freshman to then moving back here 2 years ago, the way the city has transformed, the new events we've been able to bring here is phenomenal. And that doesn't just happen, right? That takes people, and it takes hard work, and it takes, community. And so now I want to be a big part of helping to continue to grow that and build that. I would say Butler as a whole, Butler Athletics, we do a great job of getting out in the community. Thousands of hours of community service that I try to be a part of wherever I can, but our student athletes are incredible at that. We are partnering with Habitat for Humanity here coming up soon to do a big build on our campus, which I'm excited about.
Very cool.
And then we live up in Zionsville and very involved in my kids' youth sports and want to try to get more involved in that community there as well. But if anybody has anything that I can get involved in and help with, let me know, reach out, but want to continue to just help this community grow and give back because it's a really special place to us.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you've already mentioned, I think, several gems throughout this interview, but in your 20s, say yes to everything. What's another sort of, if you were to give a best piece of advice to someone early in their career who's out there listening, what's maybe another nugget that you would share that's really been impactful for you?
Yeah, I would say, maybe almost on the flip side of that, say yes to everything is also stay patient, right? Like I remember at that point in time wanting everything to happen right away, right? Like, I'm competitive, I'm driven, I was passionate about what I was doing, and like I wanted all the responsibility and everything right away. And it's going to happen, right? If you show up and do those things and work hard and be curious and be a great teammate and have a great attitude, you're going to have success, right? And so I think it's stay patient, right? Continue to show up and work hard and do all those things. But looking back, like I'm so fortunate where I am, and it's a credit to the great people that have been around me and helped put me here, and frankly a lot of luck too. But it's all worked out. And if I could go back to my 25-year-old self, I'd be like, you're gonna be all right. Like just keep putting your head down and working every day, and good things are gonna happen, right? So enjoy the ride, and stay patient.
Well, Grant, it's been a thrill to have you on the show today. I'm excited to watch all the good things that are going to happen at Butler, under Butler Athletics, under your leadership. There's a lot of people rooting for you and for Butler, including me. So thanks again for carving out time. I know you got a busy schedule, so appreciate you being here.
It's been a pleasure, man. Thank you for the opportunity. Honored to be in the studio with you, and wish you all the best, and looking forward to following your success.
Awesome. Thanks.
I'm Tiffany Souter, mom of four, wife, entrepreneur, and host of the Life of And podcast. For years, I built my life with brute force, a successful business, a growing family, and absolutely zero margin. I was tired, snappy, and felt constantly behind, and I was too afraid to admit it. Everything changed when I stopped trying to do more and started building systems that actually worked for my real life. If you too are craving more peace, more presence, and just more time for you, I'd love for you to join me on the Life of And. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast app or listen at ibjpodcast.com.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise@ibj.com to learn more.